Chill, Ronaldo. Taking the label off. I feel you, though. That's why I pour the water in here now, so that, if you're not paying, we're not promoting.
That's what it's come down to now.
No
That's why Jake
promotion.
Paul and Logan Paul got $50,000 each on their boxing shorts for each logo or some crazy shit like that.
Bellator and UFC back in the days. Well, Bellator now, UFC back in the day, you're able to have sponsors on your shorts. And then they made that Reebok deal many years back, and now it's a Venom deal. So fighters get less pay than what they used to be able to get. A lot of fighters didn't like that because you'd be able to go to like Jimmy John's or like Pennzoil and shit, and they'd give you like $5 to $10K for a sponsor.
Yeah.
Even Sergio fought at the first ever MMA sanctioned event at Madison Square Garden with Bellator, and he had sponsors on his shorts. He's like, bro, I made like good amount of money off that. Like, more.
They don't pay the fighters in the UFC enough, so
yeah,
you'd think that would be a low-hanging fruit to say, hey, here you go. Well, is the idea that the deal with Venom, that large sum of money the UFC makes, will in turn pay the fighters more?
So the fighters get a certain like cut, like a set cut, but it also makes it does make it look more official. I can't front about that. It is
all uniform.
Yeah, it's like solid. Like everyone's wearing the same brand instead of having like, you got like 4 gas companies and Skittles on your shit. I got Nike and whatever. But it does look a lot cleaner, but it does also take money away from what the fighter actually can make.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Yeah, Impy back in the building. We just pressed record. We're locked and loaded, ready to go.
Player empowerment, boys.
It's been chaotic.
Tough day
in the NBA. This is the third pod of the week. If you guys haven't checked out the solo pod, talked about Christian Eriksen. And then Alan and I did a locker room, and we talked about the Euro Cup, the first set of matches, first leg of the tournament. Have you been watching the Euro Cup at all?
Yeah, I watched a bit of it. Italy looking good. The Paisans.
Yeah, Gagoots.
I mean, I have no idea who.
Where's the pasta?
I have no idea who half the roster is, but that's because I'm just so. I knew like the 2006 roster.
Yeah.
So, Immobile. Shouts to him.
Shouts to him. He's the dude. He went viral a couple years ago because his lady was trying to get his attention, but he was playing FIFA. You ever seen that?
Nah, I haven't, but
it's a mad. If you see it, if I show you it, you'll be like, oh shit, I didn't know that was him.
I remember that video situation.
But his lady, by the way, goes without saying, great girl, is trying to get his attention. She's like, amore, and he's just over there like locked in. The guy is in there in the
set
80th.
pieces.
He's just playing, and it's just like, yo, this dude's living the dream, like just ignoring his lady while he plays FIFA.
But just bad news today.
Yeah.
If you have any more bad news, don't give it to me until tomorrow.
Where do you want to start, bro?
I mean, you want to just talk about all the players, just in general, the playoffs as everyone's got hurt, or obviously today?
I want to ask you this question.
Yeah.
I asked Dylan this at the gym. He said he don't think so, but I got some data. Data or data? What are we going?
Take that for data.
Data. I got some data here. Do you think that the shortened season, the back-to-backs, playing 3 games in 4 nights, certain stretches, 4 games in a week, trying to jam it all in, has played a role in these injuries?
100%. Like over the course of the entire season,
I'm talking about, before we get into like the playoff stuff, I'm talking about just in general. Because it's...
it was a 72-game season.
Right.
Crammed into an even who knows.
Yeah, teams like the Lakers, the Heat, those teams that made those runs to the conference finals in their respective conferences last year, because in the bubble, no one got hurt.
Yeah, it was all extremely isolated.
Yeah, so you didn't have to worry about COVID. The players were arrested because they took like that 2.5 month, 3 month break from the initial pandemic hit. And then fast forward to this, the data that I have here is, and this is from ESPN's Kevin Pelton. It's the highest injury rate since 2009-2010. The All-Stars alone this year, 370 combined games missed out of 1,944. That's 19%. That have either missed playoff games or were injured throughout the regular season. And the number that is the highest since 2009-2010 is the highest number of sideline games due to injuries.
No joke.
I think that has a big role in it. The shortened off season and then the crammed season. Fast forward a little bit, 18 months from now. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but you know the World Cup is next year, but it's not in the summer. It's going to be played in November in Qatar.
Because it's too hot to play in the summer.
It's too hot.
Yeah.
It's like 130 degrees in the summer, the June, July months. They're playing it in November. That's already a nightmare for a lot of players because, number one, it's the biggest honor you could get in professional soccer, representing your national team on a world stage like the World Cup. Number two, that's going to be in the middle of Premier League, La Liga, Champions League.
Oh, my God.
So these guys are already – it's starting to pick up more momentum because it's approaching. Now they're doing qualifiers. So, you also have the qualifiers too. So it's like, bro, we're going to be playing fucking – 100-plus games. If you're a guy that plays on Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern, PSG, like Mbappe, for example, right? This dude's going to be in Champions League. They're going to make a run in Champions League, quarterfinals like they always do. League One in France. And then the French team is like the favorite to win the world. It's like, yo, bro, I'm playing all these fucking games.
Yeah. When's you we need a break? No, I think, just back to the NBA for a second, I think it's 70-something days. 70-something days from when the Lakers won the finals to when the season started. 70-something days. I know, like, people love to talk about off seasons, but damn, this off season was extremely important. And it's funny because people tried to give the Lakers an asterisk last year. Like, oh, this year, whatever, bubble, don't really count it. It's turning out like this is the asterisk season, not last year. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's almost as if it's like what everyone thought last year got completely flipped on its head and it's this year. No, so Kawhi is the 8th different All-Star to miss a playoff game this year. Most in a season in NBA history. That's a lie of sports. LeBron hurt, AD hurt, Kawhi hurt, CP3 with the COVID protocol, Harden hurt, Embiid hurt, Mitchell hurt, Luka hurt, Russ hurt, Beal hurt, Conley, Kemba hurt.
And then also, like, if you go into, like, the regular season, too, Oladipo.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jamal Murray.
Well, absolutely. Some of these guys that got hurt in the playoffs, they were hurt in the regular season.
Right.
Your ADs, your LeBrons.
Re-aggravated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say this. We never root for injuries. It's never something that anyone takes, no one gets excited about. But the one thing that I will say is this. The NBA, I feel like one of the main criticisms is who's going to win the finals. Who's going to get to the NBA finals, right? This year, it's really up in the air now because of the fact that the big players aren't going to be kind of in the discussion. Generally speaking, right? Like your Lakers aren't going to be there, things of that nature. I think that's kind of making it a little bit more interesting that it could be kind of a Phoenix Suns, for example. To me, again, I'm not excited about the injuries, but I do think someone kind of, creating their own magical story and storyline is going to be exciting for someone.
I feel like that's a long-winded way of saying that it's opened like never before, especially with the Kyrie news. I mean, his ankle, like, his foot, like, folded.
Yeah.
It was. I can't see him coming back until maybe the finals if they get there.
Yeah.
Right. We'll get into that game in a little bit, but I think it's only natural that this was going to happen. That's a lot of games to play, man. And I know you're a professional athlete. I get it, but the wear and tear is a lot. Watching that game yesterday, the Game 5 Nets Bucks game, the Jeff Green game, so to speak, right?
I wrote that down.
Jefe. Dude.
Blake Griffin also.
But, yo, look, we're obviously being sarcastic because that was the iconic game that Durant, I think that's the best game he's ever had.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Other than that Rucker Park game.
Come on, man. Come on, dude.
I'm just fucking around.
Oh, my God. I can't believe you brought that up.
New York.
New York, yeah. New York, we here. I get it. But
no, biggest moment, biggest game of his career, right?
If you take all things into account, I don't think it's even close. Durant was my favorite basketball player ever. Then he goes to the Warriors. I got a little soured, but I still rooted for him. I still liked him. I had no issues with that Golden State run. We've talked about this ad nauseum in the past. It's not their fault that they lucked out on the guys that they drafted, and they had the salary space to be able to make those moves. him and Damian Lillard are my two favorite basketball players. With that said, Durant, I've watched every single playoff game he's ever had. And yesterday, taking all things into account, no Kyrie. Harden giving you nothing offensively.
Nothing defensively either.
Right.
Although I have
we're gonna get to Harden in a little bit, but just let me finish this point, right? The big three is now a big one, or that big three is Blake Griffin, Jeff Green, and Durant. You're a home dog, which I was telling Dunbar and Dylan, and shouts to Chris, Agent Chris. I was like, yo, we should bet the Nets. It's the spot. It's not so much the personnel. Like, they're a 5-point underdog at home in a game 5. Like, you never see that shit happen. And I made not a joke, but I was like, yo, I feel like this is where Durant can prove his worth.
Yeah.
You paid $40 million last year to him to sit on the bench to rehab and shit for that yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, that showed you that shit about, oh, man, guy gets hurt before his contract. It's like, nah, bro, that's done.
Yeah.
Like, nowadays, dudes come back. And especially a guy like Durant, which, again, I was fucking beating that point down to the ground when he was a free agent. Like, yo, I would still treat him like you're getting that old Durant back because his body type is not the body type that has – he's not Zion where he's already heavy and he's built on explosiveness. Like, yeah, explosiveness is part of his game, but it's not his whole game.
Yeah, he's a 6'10" fucking sharpshooter that can kind of, get a shot over anyone, really. No, so 49 points, 17 boards, 10 assists. 30 steals, 2 blocks. He did it on both ends. It's an underrated part of his game is the defensive side. I think he showed that in Golden State, but nonetheless.
He had 20 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Hold on.
Because he had 29 after 3, and that was already like, damn, yo, he's willing them right now.
At the 6:20 mark of the third quarter, Milwaukee led 76-60. From that point forward, Brooklyn outscored the Bucks 54-32. Kevin Durant had 31 of the 54. Durant single-handedly outscored the entire Bucks team over the last 18 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
So, when do we start talking about the game? Because there are some things that I want to talk about.
Let's talk about everything. I also want to show love to James Harden.
Okay.
Played 46 of 48 minutes.
Oh, Warrior, absolutely.
Like, and we've talked about his playoff resume in the past. Kind of gets lost in big games. Sure, the box score will show that he played, like, he was 0 for 8 from 3. A lot of them were just, like, front-rimmed, so he had nothing behind all those jump shots. But I do think that the threat of him being out there allowed KD to really go off.
I think it was like I think it's like a self-conscious thing, too. It's in KD's head. It's like, even if Harden's not 100%, even if he's not 40%,
it's the threat that he's there.
It's also just like seeing. It sounds weird. It's like seeing him there,
knowing that he's out there.
Yeah. I said self-conscious. I meant to say the subconscious of KD at least just knowing. All right, I got at least one of my guys here, no matter what.
Well, that's why I think it was such a heroic performance for him, because I know someone that covers the Nets that said he was done until the conference finals.
His leg must feel like noodles right now.
So they brought him back out of a sense of urgency more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to take away, like, that was an all-time performance. That was greatness, right? Sometimes greatness takes over.
Right.
But at what point do you also look at the Bucks and say, the Bucks' possessions, when the game was tied 91-91, ISO, Middleton 3, Giannis ISO, Giannis turnover, Drew ISO, Chris Middleton ISO, Connaughton deep 2, Drew ISO, Giannis ISO, Middleton ISO, Giannis ISO, Drew Holiday ISO, Giannis ISO. I'm almost done, guys. Brook Lopez 2, Giannis turnover.
The one turnover that Middleton dished to him.
Beautiful pass in the breadbasket.
It went like 5-hole. Do you think that had everything to do with Giannis' free throw issues? Because the way he went to go up was like he wanted to go up so fast and dunk it so that he doesn't get fouled. Because the Nets started hacking him, and he was going 1 for 2. Him being so bad at the line, him going 1 for 2, always would keep it a 2-possession game as opposed to a 3-possession game.
You're right. They couldn't put him away. It's like, don't get me wrong, they had time earlier on in the game, but at that point you're up more than 10 points. it's like you got to kind of, put your foot on their neck at some point, and they just couldn't do it. I mean, at what point does Budenholzer get a little bit of slack? Like, how do you not?
Slack or heat?
Heat, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they didn't go after Harden more. You look around the NBA playoffs, you look around the NBA as a whole, it's a defensive mismatch, right? You're going to go and you're going to attack one guy. Like, you watch when teams play against the Hawks, right? They attack Trey,
right?
Things of that nature. I don't think they did a good enough job of trying to go against Harden because from the first 5 seconds of the game, you could tell this guy's not 100%. With the hamstrings, you can't sprint, right? It's like they didn't make his life any more difficult than I just thought they should have made his life a living hell. If you're going to have him out there, have him running around, have him going through picks, attack him. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, there just wasn't enough of that. And the criticism of Budenholzer, of course, over the course of his career is, it's not that he's not a great coach. He's a great coach. It's the in-game, in-series adjustments. He doesn't do that well. And I think last night was like a perfect example of that. He just didn't. He couldn't move the chess pieces in the right way at halftime or in the fourth quarter. Like, I don't want to take anything away from KD because what he did was sensational. But I'm just saying there also needs to be some fault, I think, on the Bucks and the coaching staff. Just my opinion.